In the hands of an expert, there's not much an ordinary pocket knife can't do. And out in Hales Corners, Wisconsin, there is such an expert. An author, teacher, and craftsman, Ben Hunt. With Ben, whittling is more than just something to do with his hands. It's a craft, a very ancient one, with many acceptable degrees of skill. And the beauty of it is that everybody can enjoy it. All it takes is a sharp knife, a piece of soft wood, such as white pine, basswood, or poplar, an idea, and practice. As Ben says, the best way to learn to use a knife is to keep using it. And while you're at it, make something. Ben's cabin is full of the useful and beautiful things he's made. Realistic carvings of the animals and birds he knows so well. Symbolic designs borrowed from those master craftsmen, the American Indians. Jack can't quite believe that he'll ever learn to carve this well. But why not? Let's start right now with the knife, for we certainly won't get far without knowing a few things about that. Whittling knives, as a rule, have 3 blades. The large one is the heavy-duty working blade, best for blocking out rough shapes, but seldom used for fine carving. The small round-tipped blade is the one you'll use most, and is the one Ben Hunt will demonstrate for Jack. The small square-tipped blade is needed for scoring. But no knife is suitable for whittling unless it's sharp. No knife is safe unless it's sharp. For only the sharp blade will do what you want it to without slipping. A whetstone will put a good edge on your blade. Use only the fine side. Save the other, coarser side for your axe. Hold the blade flat against the stone as you move it slowly in a circle. The bevel of the blade gives all the angle needed. Turn the knife at intervals to grind it equally on both sides. That's one way. But as in all things, there's another way to sharpen a knife. And Ben Hunt likes to use a gadget that he makes himself. In fact, one you can make too. Take a stick about 1 foot long and 1.5 inches wide, some emery cloth, sponge rubber, smooth leather, and you're set. The springy rubber, same as in a kneeling pad, is used to assure good contact with the blade and is tacked on the stick first. Stretch it about 1/2 inch as you tack the second end so that it lies snugly against the stick. Cover the rubber with the emery cloth, which has been cut a little longer. Ben Hunt recommends carborundum cloth of a grade known as 180 grit. This does the actual sharpening. The leather goes on the other side of the stick. Almost any piece of smooth leather will do. An old belt or razor strop is fine. Ben's going to use a piece of tanned calfskin that he can cut to exact size. Angling off the corners makes a neater job. And when you tack it down, be sure it's smooth side up and pulled tight. Finally, rub in a dressing of oil, ordinary machine oil, and rouge. No, not the kind you're thinking of, but a fine red polishing agent sold in cutlery stores. Now your sharpening stick is ready for business. Watch how Ben Hunt uses the stick. Holding it at an angle, he's able to take long, smooth strokes, back and forth, with the blade pressed down flat against the emery cloth. Notice how he lifts the blade as he turns it over at the end of each stroke. The back of the blade always leads the stroke. Using the same kind of motion on the leather side, Ben hones off any roughnesses or feathers on the blade's edge. Well, how can you tell when the blade is sharp? Let's compare Ben's and Jack's. That's Jack's at the top. See where the dulled edge catches and reflects the light? But Ben's doesn't pick up a single highlight. When a blade's really sharp, you just can't see the edge. And the point is to keep it that way. Jack's knife obviously needs attention. And the best way to learn is by doing. There's a nice rhythm in honing a knife once you catch it. Down, back, hold it flat, and lift the blade at every turn. Well, the first condition is fulfilled. Jack's knife's plenty sharp, and it's time to start work on something. What'll it be? Something useful, you can bet. Ben picks out a lamp made from a Hopi Indian Kachina doll. Fun to carve and fun to know about. It's patterned after the dolls carved by the Hopi medicine men and given to the tribe's children to help them understand the meaning of the ceremonial masks and costumes. The cylinder of soft, knot-free wood Ben has roughed out is about 6 inches long and 2 inches across. And the first thing he does is to sketch his design in pencil on the wood. That's like planning anything. You want to know where you're heading before you start. So here are the guidelines marking off the head, it's really a mask, waist, skirt, and leg sections of the doll. And now for the first cut, a down cut on the collar line. The next cut takes out the chip. Hold the knife firmly and plant your thumb down hard, for it's your thumb that controls the depth and length of the cut. Here again, note how the thumb is braced firmly against the wood, serving as a steady rest and helping to pull the blade along. Note, too, that it's held well below the line of the blade, and keep it well below if you want to keep your thumb. Now for the waist section, or blanket, below the collar. This time it's the left thumb pushing the blade that gives you absolute control over your knife. For delicate work, you'll find this method of cutting most precise. Under the waist, the doll's apron is rounded off. Let's just concentrate on watching Ben's thumbs. And remember, the secret of a knife that never slips lies in two things: a sharp blade and good thumb control. Jack will have to do a powerful lot of practicing to work up to Ben Hunt's skill, but now at least he knows how to go about it and why. You get a good feeling when you make things with your hands, and it didn't even take an hour to finish carving this Kachina doll, peg in the snout and ears, and screw on the base. But no Indian carving is complete or authentic without paint, bright colors used in traditional ways. Ben Hunt uses ordinary watercolors. Blue for the mask that will later get black and white eyes. Use lots of paint and let it soak in well, or you may have to put on 2 coats. The blanket on which the decorative design is already sketched is sometimes red, sometimes brown, or orange. The apron is generally white, with colored designs outlined in black. You'll find full instructions for designing, painting, lacquering, and wiring the Kachina doll lamp in your boy's life for January 1948. Late that afternoon, Jack puts the finishing touches on his handiwork. Well, his and Ben Hunt's, and he feels pretty pleased. Somehow he'd expected to find whittling more difficult. Maybe it didn't seem hard because it was such good fun, and because the right way to do anything is usually the easy way. At any rate, nobody can tell him this hasn't been a big day.